Hello, guys, and welcome back to the FPL Duo. We're back for the team selection video for Game Week 11. We hope everyone's doing well on this Thursday evening. How you doing, Jordan? How's your week going? And yeah, you're looking forward to the football this weekend.
Yeah, definitely looking to all the football this weekend. Some nice fixtures coming up, and obviously we're here to talk about our what teams we have selected for Game Week 11. But if you haven't watched midweek football, then obviously you get to enjoy us going through our teams.
Yeah, we're going to recap obviously from Game Week 10 and talk about how we did, and then we'll quickly move ahead to Game Week 11 after that. So let's start off with Game Week 10. It was a big week for me, as you guys know. I got a big green arrow. Very happy with the way my week went. So let's start off with the goalkeeper. So I did have Areola in goal. He did lose. He conceded in the 1-0 loss to Everton, which was a surprise loss. I didn't expect West Ham to lose that one. However, it was a shock result. But yeah, Areola loses a clean sheet. Let's move on to the back three. Let's start off with the disappointment, which is Gabriel. He was auto subbed in, I believe. Sorry, Dan Burn. So Gabriel, as you guys know, was my player, my starting player. However, he didn't start against Sheffield, which was very annoying. And my auto sub was Dan Burn. Now, Dan Burn, as you guys know, conceded 2 goals against Wolves in the 2-2. So he got 0 points. So essentially, it didn't really matter anyway that Gabriel missed out. But yeah, Burn came in for a 0-pointer. Moving on to Matty Cash, 5 points. Again, very nice. He got a clean sheet. I was a bit lucky with this one. He was subbed off just before Aston Villa conceded. So us Cash owners managed to get the clean sheet after the own goal. That I think it was Martinez who got that one. But yeah, lucky Cash gets a return. Simicast, again, another clean sheet for him. That's back-to-back clean sheets. Liverpool winning 3-0 in the end against Forest in a comfortable win. Moving along into the midfield 5, a lot of positives for me this week. My midfield kind of carried the team. So let's start off with my captain. That is Mo Salah. Mo Salah did score in that game. He got a maybe it was a bit fortunate as well, but it also wasn't because the goalie made an error and then he missed the ball completely, and then Salah just got it, and then Salah pretty much had an open net. So very happy to see Salah get a return for obviously being my captain. He ends up with the 16 points. Moving on to Neto, unfortunate Neto injury here. He's been brilliant so far this season. Another assist against Newcastle. He just keeps on delivering, it seems. He does a hamstring injury, and I have already transferred him out. I will come on to in a sec. But yeah, Neto's 5-pointer, which is nice. Moving on to Diaby, which was a big one for my team and a bit of a differential. He's gone up in ownership now. However, he did get me a lovely 13-pointer, and I feel very rewarded after 2 blanks and keeping the patience with Diaby. It was nice to see him get that big haul, getting a goal, assist, and the 3 bonus points. Happy days, and happy to own Diaby as well for Forest and Fulham next. Next up, I got Son. Again, he does what he does, gets a goal, 3 bonus points as well. Spurs won 2-1, I believe, away win, big win for them. And Son carries on his form. Not much to say, really. He's pretty much an essential right now, it feels, at this moment in time. So, yeah, happy that he got another return. Saka, on the other hand, on my transfer in, did pick up an assist. So, I believe he did match Maddison, which was nice to see in the 5-0 win for Arsenal. Clean sheet and obviously the assist. So, yeah, 6-pointer from Saka, which isn't too bad. Can't complain. Moving up top, maybe a surprise. Watkins does blank against Luton. A lot of us thought, should we take a -4 to bring Watkins in? I know there was managers looking at that, and yeah, at the end, he didn't get any return. So bit of a surprise. However, Watkins has been brilliant, and it's just one of those, I guess. You don't always score in every game, and I'm happy to own him for the coming fixtures. But yeah, surprise blank against Luton for Watkins. And then finally, Haaland, who probably was the player of the game week because of his performance against Manchester United in the Manchester derby. He did destroy Man United with 2 goals, 1 assist, and the 3 bonus points. And he was the best captain pick for those that went Haaland. Congrats. Obviously, I went Salah. In the end, I could have got maybe another 300k extra. 150, 200k green arrow if I went Haaland. So there's a slight difference there going Salah. However, it's not too bad in the end because my team did very well overall. So I'm very, very happy with this game week. As you guys know, I wildcarded in game week 8 when my rank was 5 million. 2 game weeks later, it's now 1.5 million. So a big improvement in since the wild card. 82 points all out. Very happy the way it's gone, and hopefully I'm aiming for a third third green arrow in a row in game week 11. So that's my team. Again, not much on the bench. I did have Taylor on the bench as well, 6-pointer, but unfortunately I didn't play him, and he did get a goal. But yeah, Jordan, let's move on to your team for game week 10. Talk us through and recap how it went for you. And yeah, just let us know, remind us.
Yeah, so this is how my game week 10 has gone. So Areola, obviously he didn't get a clean sheet in that surprising Everton loss to Everton won against West Ham 1-0. So it was quite a surprise that West Ham at home didn't get anything from that game. But yeah, no clean sheet for Areola, but he did get a save point, which gives him 3 points. Moving on to defense, so Trippier, he gets 0 points because they drew to Wolves, so point taken off for him, and obviously he got yellow cards, so no clean sheet or attack and return for Trippier in game week 10. Moving on to Luca Dean, unfortunately, due to Aston Villa conceding to Luton from their own goal, that was the clean sheet white for Luca Dean, so he only gets his 2 points and no returns for him. And moving on to the next player, obviously Udogie was an auto sub, so Taylor will come on for Udogie, and obviously Taylor got 6 points. He scored one of the goals for Burnley in that 2-1 loss to Bournemouth. So yeah, a nice return and a very fortunate one. I think that was a bit of luck that Taylor actually scored because he was my auto sub for Udogie. Moving on to the midfield, so we've got Maddison and Son with the double up on Spurs. So Maddison got his assist and a clean sheet point in that 2-1 win over Crystal Palace, and Son, his teammate, scored the goal and got the bonus 3. So that ends up with Maddison on 6 and Son on the double for 10 points. Moving on to the next midfielder, we've got Saka, who gets his questionable assist and a clean sheet point in that massive 5-0 win over Sheffield United. Moving on to the last midfielder, that is Bowen, who surprisingly blanked in that, obviously, that Everton 1-0 loss that West Ham sustained. And yeah, Bowen had a lot of chances to score, he just couldn't finish them. But obviously, we move on from that, and I'm sure West Ham have as well. Moving on to the front three. So obviously, we've got Alvarez, who blanked in that 3-0 win over Man United in the Manchester derby. So yeah, no returns for Alvarez this game week. Same for Watkins, no returns for him in that Luton obviously win over 3-1. So yeah, no returns for Ollie Watkins, surprisingly, even though his effective ownership was higher than Haaland's for game week 10, which I think annoyed a lot of people that he did blank in that week. Because if we move on to our last player, and that is Haaland, who was my captain for this week and get paid off massively because he did score the 2 goals, got an assist, and got the bonus 3 points, which rewards me with 32 points with the captaincy over him. So it was the right captain pick, I think, for my team in my starting 11. And briefly on the bench, there's not really any returns. Leno got a save point, which gives him 3 points. Andreas got a point. He only played 32 minutes in that game. Udogie, obviously, he was auto subbed onto the bench. And Branthwaite, he gets 8 points for the clean sheet against West Ham. Who would have thought that was ever possible? And he also got a bonus 2 on top of that. So that is how my game week, obviously 10, underwent. And it was a pretty good game week. It managed to get me a green arrow, a very small one. Obviously, I was on 93k, I think. And then obviously I got up to 80k. So yeah, 71 game week points. So a very high scoring game week. And overall, it was a fantastic game week to go.
Nice one. So both of us got green arrows in game week 10. Can we get green arrows again in game week 11? And that is the hope. So let's pull up our team for game week 11. So I'll quickly read out my team and I'll also discuss the transfer because I've already made the transfer. I made it last night. Was it last night or 2 days ago? I made it early. So this is currently my bus team and what it looks like heading into Game Week 11. So in goal, I have Areola, who has Brentford. I have a back three of Gabriel, who's got Forest. Matty Cash, who has Forest. Gabriel, who has Newcastle. And Simicas, who has Luton away. In the midfield five, I've got Diaby, who's got Forest. I've got Neto, who we'll come on to in a sec. I'm going to take out. I've got Saka in there as well, who's got Newcastle away. I've got Son, who's got Chelsea at home. And I've got Salah, who's got Luton away. And up front, I've got Watkins and Haaland as well, who's got Bournemouth in a nice fixture. So, as you guys know, Neto, has done his hamstring, and he is the big major concern surrounding my team. So I think that's an obvious one. I ideally wanted to roll the transfer. I wanted to have 2 free transfers going into Game Week 12. However, it's not possible because Neto had a really nice fixture against Sheffield. However, I've done the move. Neto is gone from my team, and I actually have bought in Palmer from Chelsea. So Palmer's in, and that leaves me with 0.8 million in the bank as well. So free up some money and putting into my bank to spread around, later when I decide. So I think Palmer's an interesting pick. The reason I've chose Palmer, I've actually been impressed with his performances, even though Chelsea are a weird team and they don't really attack much. They don't really score many goals. But Palmer's underlying numbers are actually very impressive in terms of big chances created, in terms of even the eye test. When I watched him against Arsenal, I was very, very impressed. And look, Palmer's fixtures are terrible. He's got Tottenham next. I'm just looking at who Chelsea play. I mean, Chelsea's fixtures are not good at all. Like, it's Tottenham, and then it's Man City, then it's Newcastle, then it's Brighton for the next 4, and then Man United as well, if you have that down as a tough fixture. So the reason why I've gone Palmer is because I want him longer term. I definitely want Palmer from Game Week 16 onwards. And because he's cheap at 5 million, he allows me to spread my budget elsewhere and upgrade the likes of Diaby later down the line, or even one of the defenders. So take the money out of the team. Palmer's interesting pick. I think around that, I'm not a fan of Hwang. I know Hwang's, I could have went Neto to Hwang, but I just don't like that move. I think Hwang's very hot and cold. Like, he's overperforming XG massively. So I don't really like that. I could have went a Dingra, but I'm slightly worried about his minutes and rotation. The other one I've looked at was Gordon as well. Gordon's 5.8 million. That would have left me with 0.0 in the bank. And I wanted a bit of flexibility in case I want to upgrade players. So that's why I ruled Gordon out. I think Palmer for me is a long-term pick now. I want to have him. I'm playing in the bad fixtures, playing in the good fixtures, and hopefully when the fixtures turn again in Game Week 16, whenever it is, when Chelsea have the nice fixtures, I'm hoping Palmer will get me some returns then. But that is the move. I've already done it. Neto out for Palmer gives me 0.8 million in the bank as well. And that's what my team currently looks like. The only dilemma I have as well is, do I play Dan Burn or do I play Gabriel? Because obviously they're playing against each other. However, I think I'm going to go with Gabriel as of now. I could be tempted to switch to Dan Burn because it is the home fixture and Newcastle are decent at home. But for now, I've gone with Gabriel starting against Newcastle. But that's the only other topic really of my dilemma on my team. But I was going to ask you, Jordan, who would you play if it was up to you? Would you play Gabriel or would you play Dan Burn?
Well, probably back Arsenal, I think, because you got Saka already in your squad. So if you're expecting Saka to score, then you wouldn't want to play Dan Burn, because then obviously you'd want Gabriel to get a clean sheet if you're expecting Saka to obviously score against Newcastle. So I would be picking Gabriel and hoping he does start in this game.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I've kind of gone Gabriel. I think Arsenal defense is still fairly decent, and I don't expect a clean sheet, to be honest. I think both teams will score. I expect it maybe 2-1, something like that. So yeah, I'm going to play Gabriel anyway. And Palmer's in. The rest of the team, just very quickly, I'm pretty happy with Diaby's got a really nice fixture, as well as Watkins and Cash against Forest. Their fixtures do turn in a few weeks though, so we'll see what I do with them longer term. Simicas and Salah, again, great fixture. Luton. Also,
Yeah.
captaincy is a debate. I am going Haaland. For those that aren't aware, Liverpool did play last night against Bournemouth in the Carabao Cup. Liverpool are through to the quarterfinals. And interestingly, Salah played 90 minutes last night in a game where we actually thought he wouldn't start. So Salah playing 90 minutes and the fact Haaland's a home fixture and he's had that rest. There's no debate for me this week. For me personally, I'm going Haaland. I won't put it on Salah, even though Salah's got a great fixture against Luton, and I'm expecting big things from Salah. I'm going to back Haaland because it's the home fixture and he's had that week rest where Salah played 90 minutes last night.
Well, as we saw with Watkins last game week, we all thought he had a nice fixture, obviously against Luton at home, and turns out he blanked in that fixture. So it doesn't necessarily mean that a player of a good quality who has a good fixture means that he's going to do obviously winning. Because when you see newly promoted teams or teams that look really easy on paper, you tend to find that obviously those teams will play a high line, and obviously the weaker team will play a defensive role. And because that team plays a higher line, you see more goal involvements from different players because everyone is pushing forward. So that does sometimes isolate players, like we saw with Watkins, maybe from scoring a goal. And maybe we'll see that, fingers crossed for Salah, that he's somehow isolated in that game because obviously the overwhelming attack that Liverpool have. And obviously they will show that against Luton, who will pretty much defend for their lives, I think, throughout that whole game and try to stop Liverpool. So as a non-Salah owner, I'm actually hoping that is the case.
I mean, you carry on hoping, man, because Salah scoring 2 goals. I'm still confident of Salah this one. I'm backing Liverpool. I'm very, very impressed with the way Liverpool are playing so far this season, and I'd probably like another Liverpool attacker in there if I could fit one in.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the team for game week 11, and I'm pretty happy with the way it's shaping up. But yeah, Jordan, let's move on to your team, game week 11. Talk us through how you're lining up. Also, your transfer plans, captaincy as well. What are you thinking?
Okay, so yeah, this is how my Game Week 11 team currently looks like. So we've got Areola, who has Brentford away. In defence, we've got Udogie, who's I think still currently flagged. He's got Chelsea at home. Next, we've got Trippier, who has Arsenal at home, and Luca Dean, who has Nottingham Forest away. In the midfield 4, we've got Maddison and Son, who both have Chelsea at home. Bowen, who has Brentford away, and Saka, who has Newcastle away. Moving on to the front 3, we got Watkins, who has Nottingham Forest away, Haaland, who has Bournemouth at home, and his teammate Alvarez, who also has the same fixture. And on the bench, we've got Leno, who has Man United at home, followed by Andreas, and Taylor, who has Crystal Palace at home, and Brantwaite, who has Brighton at home. So this is how the team's lining up, and I am going on the hope that Udogie is fine still for that match against Chelsea at home. I'm pretty adamant he's going to be all right for his muscle injury, but he has a 50% chance of playing, which it was 75% chance, so that does worry me a bit. But I've not heard any updates since that follow-up after he obviously went off in the last game week. But as it stands now, my transfer plans, I have one free transfer with 0.3 in the bank. My current plans are to still roll the transfer as long as Udogie. Well, if I hear that Udogie is fine, then I'm rolling the transfer. If I don't hear he's not, then I may potentially, and this is probably not a good idea, but I might play Taylor instead of Udogie, who has Crystal Palace at home. I don't think that's a bad fixture for Burnley. I think it's a good booster, a team to go for because Crystal Palace have struggled currently in the season so far, obviously from injuries and losing players. But it's not. I don't think it's knee jerky because obviously Taylor did score last game week. But it is a home fixture for Burnley. Maybe it's a boost, I think, for the home crowd as well behind them for that. Obviously that game. But yeah, I potentially may play Taylor and roll the transfer. I think either way, if Udogie is fine or not, and if he isn't, then I'll just play Taylor.
Fair enough. Yeah, the team looks good, I think. Like I was gonna ask you coming onto that question. So you got 2 free transfers, haven't you?
I got 1 free transfer, but I'm looking to roll transfer.
Oh, you're
So I'll
gonna
go back.
roll. Okay,
Yeah,
I see what you mean. So if you roll, your doggy should be fine. I'm guessing
yeah,
that's what it's looking like against Chelsea. Um,
yeah.
and then what will your plans be then next week? Just very early, obviously. If you have two free transfers going into game week 12, is there any players you're looking at like next week, or that you want to move shift soon, or are you happy with your team fairly midterm?
There is one player I'm looking to bring in, and that is Mitoma. Um, I'm somehow gonna fit him in. It's going to be hard to pick which midfield I want to remove from the team to bring Matoma in, because it's going to be hard. It may be potentially Maddison I take out, because Spurs fixtures soon do change. Because after Chelsea, they do have Wolves away, but then they have Aston Villa at home in 13, and then the fixtures get more harder when they have Man City in 14. And I don't think I'll need triple Spurs when it comes to that point in the season. So yeah, maybe potentially take out Maddison for Matoma, because Matoma's fixtures are really good coming up as well. Because I think it's in Matoma's fixtures. He has obviously Everton in game week 11, Sheffield United in 12, which is a great fixture, I think, to bring Matoma in.
Yeah,
When
Mitoma's got some nice games. I think starting this game week actually. You
yeah,
could even do it now, but you've got good midfielders.
that's the thing. There is decent midfielders with all right fixtures for this week. I think I'll hold off Matoma for now.
Mhm.
But along the line, he will be one of my transfers, I think, come game week 11. Or, sorry, 12.
Okay, nice one. So it looks like you're rolling. I've done my move, guys. I have done Neto to Palmer. I'll read a few comments out. Also, guys, if you are watching, make sure you do hit that like button. Make sure you are subscribed, and also make sure you do share the video as well if you can. So like, subscribe, and share the video, please, guys. It helps the channel out massively. Roman, hi lads. Average week for me, but Neto injury and Diaz news has basically forced me to make my first hit of the season. I have made my moves. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Neto injuries done me as well. I was gonna roll. I was very, looking forward to playing Neto against Sheffield in that fixture, but obviously that's unfortunate. Diaz news is very, very unfortunate as well. And I mean, no one saw that coming, but yeah, I think you've got to take Diaz probably out now if you've got him. I think if you can switch it up and go to Darwin, I think Darwin looks exciting. For those that didn't see Darwin's goal last night, brilliant, brilliant goal. I don't know if you saw it, Jordan. You need to watch Darwin's goal from last night.
Oh,
Quality.
no.
He
I
just
did
curled it
not
into the
see that.
top corner.
I will definitely take a look at that afterwards.
Yep. Neto out Huang for me. Although I like Palmer, says Neil. Yeah, I considered Huang, but then I thought for me, Palmer makes sense long term. I think his fixtures after game week 16 are very nice. And I know I'm going to want Palmer in game week 16 anyway. So I thought, why not bring him in early? Frees up some money as well. And yeah, I like Palmer as well. I think he's a very good player.
Yeah, a lot of people won't really go for Palmer, because I think they'll be put off by his fixtures that he has coming up. And that makes him even better differential. If no one's really going for him, he could be underlooked.
Yeah. I done Diaz and Neto to Embuemo and Szoboszlai, just a gut feeling, and felt like going for a differential with good fixtures. I mean, I like this Szoboszlai shout. I mean, he's just had a price rise, 7.1 million. I definitely like Szoboszlai as a pick. I don't know if I would be getting him into my own team yet, because the way my team is set up, it's hard to fit Szoboszlai in. But I think Szoboszlai is one to watch, definitely as a pick potentially. But for me, not just yet. Bring him into my team. But I like that you've gone with him. I think he's a nice differential. What have you made of Embuemo though, Jordan? Obviously, a lot of people took Embuemo out. Now some people are looking to bring him back in.
Yeah, I was one of them that took him out when he got his another double haul against surprisingly Chelsea away, which was quite frustrating, because I would have put money on that Mbeumo wouldn't have had a great game like that. But yeah, he got 13 points from that game, so he had a back-to-back double haul, which I kind of missed out on, and obviously a lot of people did. I mean, I don't think I would bring him back in though. Now I think we've lost those points. Even though he's got West Ham at home next in game week 11, he's got Liverpool, then Arsenal in 12 and 13. So he's only really worthwhile if you've really held on to him now for that West Ham fixture. But if you got rid of him, there's no really point bringing him in for one good fixture and then got tricky ones after that.
Yeah, I think I like Embuemo still after game week 14 onwards when it gets a bit better. But yeah, it's interesting. I think Embuemo could become an option again for my team later down the line. What about Taylor at home? Says Neil. Yeah, Taylor, I could play him instead of Gabriel. Just, I don't know. I think Taylor was very lucky. I don't think he'll ever score a goal again in his life. I think it was just one of those games where he scored, but I don't know. I think I'll probably play Gabriel. But yeah, Taylor the shout. You doggy to Simicast. I mean, there's a bit of Simicast shout. I think that's for your team. I mean, have you
Oh, do
considered a defender transfer?
you know what? I've not really considered actually Simicast. That is a good shout. That actually
Yeah,
might change things
yeah. Simicast has a
because
decent fixture this week.
he's 4.6 million, and he's definitely affordable. I thank you, chat, for that shout. Obviously, you'll obviously see that in the deadline stream on what I obviously do, but that does really help because I never saw that avenue to go for.
Any thoughts about Nketiah as well? Said Trini Guna. There's a few Nketiah shouts here, and then Alex also said Nketiah is probably the best value in the game from game week 12 onwards. I actually saw some news, I think yesterday, that Gabriel Jesus is expected to be out for a while longer now. Apparently, Gabriel Jesus could miss out for the whole of November. So, if that's the case, then Nketiah might become a decent option for a while longer still, because Arsenal still have another 3 fixtures left: Newcastle, Burnley, Brentford. I'm still not sure if I'd go for Nketiah, if I'm being honest, because I will still always worry me that you're going to have to use a transfer later down the line to take him out when Jesus is back. I say monitor the Jesus stuff. If those news or rumors, whatever they are, if they're true that Jesus is going to be out for a prolonged period of time, then yeah, Nketiah could become a nice option. However, I wouldn't bring him in this week when he's got Newcastle. I'll probably wait till game week 12, Burnley, then Brentford. Then after that, Wolves, Jesus might be back for that one. So I think it's one to watch. Maybe not this week, but looking forward um, after the Newcastle game to see if he's still a option. Roman also says wanted Darwin, but would have to take a -8 with taking out Alvarez, and I don't feel like that's worth it.
No,
Yeah,
I don't think that's worth it, especially when they've got Bournemouth at home, and Bournemouth have played midweek as well. So there's going to be some tiresome players in that game, obviously at the weekend, and Man City are pretty much fresh for that fixture, especially with Alvarez and at home fixture at the Etihad. Yeah, that's definitely not worth it. I don't think to bring Darwin in, even though he's got a good fixture, but for a -8, I think that's a bit too much.
yeah, I wouldn't do it for a -8. Thoughts on bringing in a Dingra for Ward Prowse and Alvarez for Solanke? Yeah, I've liked those moves. I like Palmer, as I mentioned, Mark. I prefer Palmer around that 5 million mark, but Dingra could be a nice little differential. Definitely got the fixtures. Just his minutes worry me a bit, and is he going to play every game? Because we know De Zerbi and the rotation and how it works. Kuanda with a comment as well. Good evening, lads. Bowen or Mitoma for the next few games. And Buemo is not consistent at times. Will rather avoid for now. I think in terms of Bowen and Mitoma, I would go with Mitoma. I think Mitoma's fixtures again is very, very nice. Because we're looking at him, I'm bringing his fixtures up. He's got Everton away, then it's Sheffield at home, then it's Forest away. So those next 3 fixtures, I do bank on Brighton doing well in. And Mitoma is pretty much a 90-minute man. He plays every game pretty much. There's not much rotation with him. And I think the next 3, I think Mitoma for me is the standout pick probably. What about you, Jordan? Would you go with Bowen or Mitoma? Because you're a Bowen owner.
Yeah, I'll probably go with Matoma myself. I do agree his fixtures are slightly more better than obviously Bowen's, but not to say Bowen's not a bad pick either. I think both are decent picks to go forward with, but I think I'll probably side to slightly go with Matoma for the fixtures, but also because Bowen also played midweek as well, so there may be a little bit less freshness from West Ham. From obviously playing in that game midweek. So yeah, Matoma probably looks like the better pick, I think.
Yeah, I think around that 6.5 million bracket, think Mitoma is probably the best one for the next 3. And I own Diaby. I do like Diaby, but I still think Mitoma is the best if I had to pick money no object for the next 3 fixtures, short term. And in terms of obviously the budget, under 6 million, I think Palmer for me is the one I'd go with. But I also do like Gordon as well, if I'm being honest. But it's just that 0.8 million more for Gordon is you got to justify if you think that's worth it. It could be as well, but I'd rather have the money in the bank. But yeah, I think that's it for the team selection. Captaincy, I'm guessing you're not taking off Haaland. You're set on Haaland, aren't you?
Yeah, because in terms of the team, I think Haaland has pretty much the best fixture out of all of the starting 11 in my squad. Because I wouldn't be very confident in captaining other players, especially with the Chelsea fixtures that Spurs have, and yeah, the Arsenal was definitely not, and obviously not in the Forest game for Aston Villa can be a bit 50-50. So yeah, I'm set on Haaland captain again, especially with Bournemouth at home. I think it's another great fixture for either Haaland or Alvarez to do well in, or hopefully both.
We'll take one more question, and it's regarding your team. Do you plan on getting rid of Alvarez next week? Says Mark.
Interesting, because Alvarez, he has Chelsea away after, obviously, Bournemouth. I don't know if I would get rid of him next week, but yeah, I mean, Ollie Watkins' fixtures are still good until game week 15, but Alvarez becomes more trickier come near the time. It is one to think about. It does depend, I think, on how I feel about Alvarez and double City up front, because it seems to be working at the moment, I think. But long term, I might take Alvarez out. It just depends when I do that. I don't think I'll do it, though, next week. I might give it another week after that and see.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think we want to wrap it up here. It's been the team select. Well, it's already a half an hour stream. But we are back again on, was it Saturday deadline, isn't it?
Yeah, Saturday deadline.
So yeah, Saturday is 11 a.m. deadline. So we'll be streaming from 10 a.m. UK time on Saturday. So make sure you guys do tune in for the deadline stream. Well, we might make or you might make a transfer. You may roll. I think you're rolling, aren't you? So you'll have to tune in, guys, to see what we do. And in regards to that is it pretty much. Anything else you want to add, Jordan, or anything you want to say?
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Always appreciated. And yeah, thanks for the insight in the chat about that Simicast shout. Obviously, you see what I'll do in the deadline stream, whether I roll a transfer or use one. So stay tuned until then. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your week.